Welcome to Maniacal Music Musings. I'm your host, Jeremy, and as you know, we are your lifeline into great music. Because let me tell you, music these days is in a state of emergency. If it means a lot to you that we're here, then welcome to the family. You're an honorary muser just by that. If it doesn't mean a lot to you, well, then see you in shell, motherfuckers. But my co-host, he's homesick, unless he wears his cat pajamas. He drinks the white water and says it tastes like Kevin Bacon. You can ask him about his nights of love, but you ain't no family unless you drink New Jersey Legion iced tea with him. I'm made of wax. What are you made of, Chancy motherfucking Grave? Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Nothing. Crickets. Fuck.
Crickets.
Jesus
Second
Christ.
time.
Oh, man. That's just sad.
That's all right. That's all right.
Hey, if I let it affect me, man, I wouldn't be podcasting anymore. But that's right, folks. Welcome to another episode. We're gonna be doing a few of these in the next few days, so you're welcome. But of course, let me introduce our guest who's going to be helping us break down three amazing albums today. Our guest today is Kyle Moore. He is the host of the brainsoda podcast. What's going on, Kyle?
Not a whole lot, man. I'm really excited to be here and talk about these CDs with you guys. I was a little perplexed when I first got them, but I ended up walking away with a different perspective, man. They were really cool.
Well, we will get into all these CDs in just a minute. But first things first, I'm kind of curious what your podcast is about.
So it's a little bit of a avant-garde kind of thing, I guess you could say, like the I Wrestle the Bear Once record was, where I come in the beginning segment after we get in, and I discuss geek culture, pop culture, entertainment and media type subjects. And then my co-host, Brad, will discuss like a science or a history type subject. And we kind of wrap, at two different ends. So it's almost like show and tell. You get to bring in something that you're kind of interested in, lean it into one another. They're never really adjacent topics or anything like that. And we kind of like it that way. Breaking it up and giving us something fresh to talk about every 20, 30 minutes. That's really what it is. You get 10 to 15 minutes of each segment in and out before that hour mark, and it's nice. I like it.
Well, see, I mean, if me and Chancy did a show like that, it kind of be like Chancy would bring like the newest horror movie or something, and I'd be like, hey, Chancy, when you watch rim job porn, do you like it counterclockwise or clockwise? But I mean, that's kind of the way it would go with me and Chancy. But
yeah.
It depends on which hemisphere I'm in.
Right.
Well, oh God. Well, as always, we are here to talk about music, not rim jobs, as pleasant as they may be.
It's a different podcast.
That's a different podcast. I actually have a podcast that I've been trying to start like that with a certain OnlyFans star, but she has to want to come back into podcasting first. Hint, hint. But I would love to give this chance, though, for Kyle to introduce what album he brought and why he wanted to bring this one.
So this was like a seminal album in like that period of time in my life, 2009's Homesick, From a Day to Remember. This is kind of like the album that broke them too. I don't know if I would say like it's the best A Day to Remember record, hands down, but it certainly got a lot of votes, right? There's a lot of ballots that would say Homesick on them. But I think not only is it like the watershed moment for them, but it is like an album that can connect with you, even though its subject matter really is about being out on like tour and being away from your friends and family. That's not an experience that many of us have, I don't think, right? Being out on tour behind a record for 2 years or whatever it may be. But like so much of this album connects with you. It's that A Day to Remember big sound with heavy moments and breakdowns and stuff like that. That pop, punk, metalcore mix. And yeah, man, Chef's Kiss. Mwah, I love it. It's one of my favorite albums of all time.
All right. Oh, that's a damn good reason to bring it, I'll say. But Mr. Chancy, what did you think of Kyle's album?
Actually, I had a pleasant little surprise. There was a part of the album that I was aware of outside of the album, and I was doing something else, giving my first, draft, and I heard it, and I'm like, oh, that's fucking this band? Oh, okay, right on, right on. And pop punk isn't necessarily in my wheelhouse, but this one wasn't that bad. This one wasn't that bad. It was a nice blend of the melodic and the guttural, and like Kyle was saying, it's got some pretty heavy fucking parts, which definitely it brought me back from the I can't talk shit about the Guest album. That's that abyss that I try not to fall in. So I just saved it for Jeremy.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I have some of my own feelings with my own album, but mixed feelings, I should say. But as far as your album goes, I mean, as soon as I saw it was A Day to Remember, I'm like, why do I know that name? And I had to, I was like, all right. I'm looking at their other albums. I'm like, that's why they have been previously on the show. And I'm like, I don't really remember the last time when they were on the show because it was a while ago. Like I think it was back in the beginning of the year. But
okay, yeah.
What the frick is that noise?
The feds are coming, bro. They found you.
They
found it.
Fucking act straight, man. Act straight.
Yeah.
Not even something to joke about, honestly. At this point in time. But dude, I'm a paranormal podcaster. That's a fear of mine.
That's true. Yeah.
But
good point.
I mean, as far as this album goes, as soon as I started like listening to a few tracks to try to figure out my CD, like it reminded me of a certain band I love. But I'm not gonna say that yet until I get to my CD. I tell you why I picked it. And it's not the band I picked either. Just out of all curiosity, it's not the band I picked. But I mean, it reminded me of a lot. Actually, I mean, this album actually reminds me of a lot of different bands I love, like kind of put together, like all their styles mixed into one. And I'm not gonna say I definitely didn't hate it like at all. Like I actually enjoyed it. I'm happy I listened to both your CDs at work though, because they both definitely are headphone CDs because you need to be able to hear every aspect. Yeah. Like you try listening to them in the car and it's just not the same. But I mean, A Day to Remember is not bad. I don't mind them. I kind of think I like the other CD I listened to better. It's just like a vague recollection. But I mean, that just might be my opinion. And this one wasn't bad though. It wasn't that bad. I mean, it was just I like a lot of bands, as Chancy knows, that are like heavy metal and melodic at the same time, and that's kind of my style. I'm not exactly a fan of the singer's voice style. Like I'm not a fan of it, but that's just my personal opinion. It reminds me too much of like My Chemical Romance type shit. Like it's just,
and I think that's prototypical of the era too. Like it, like I feel like it matures a little bit later on, and in this time it's a little higher, you know.
Well, see, the era kind of fucked me over too, and I made my album choice because I was trying to match things up a little bit on my end. But
I think it's a good job.
We'll talk about that a little bit. But
yeah,
first things first, though, Kyle, what were your top 5 songs on your own album? Any honorable mentions you want to bring as well?
So I'll start with the honorable mentions because I literally was going to start with it as my top 5, and I felt like it's too close to home. You need to play the cards a little close to your chest to be honest about this record because I love it so much. Though You Already Know What You Are is this really heavy, like less than 2-minute song with the internet phase out at the back end and things like that. And it is just such a heavy song. I feel like it's inspirational heavy too, which is not, something a lot of people get into, but I really dig on it. But my top 5 in order would be number 5, My Life for Hire, right? Like that second lead off song of the record or whatever, it just really kind of brings in that pungent note. And I would say it's like the prototypical songwriting structure for this band going forward in a lot of expense, like later records and stuff like that.
Actually, it's funny because I hated the first song on this album right away, and the second song I actually did put that I had it was on the bottom of my list at one point, and I just deleted it off once I wasn't sure I was gonna have enough songs like after the feeling of the first 2, but I deleted it off after a while. I was like, all right, I got enough songs, I can delete it.
So number 4, Mr. Highway's Always Thinking About the End, the Good Song reference. And like this has one of those big A Day to Remember memes in it. You know what I mean? Like one of those big moments from this first record that people love.
Yeah.
And it's one of the heaviest songs, maybe of their whole catalog. But yeah, I love this song, even just for the title, but definitely because of the consistency of the music for sure.
Well, actually, I usually don't do this, but you're starting a trend here because you're literally naming all the songs I didn't like, and that song I thought that song I had high hopes for that song just based on the song title, but
right,
I got let down. And I was
really. I love that song. That's one of my favorite. All right,
well, you haven't seen enough to understand, but Jeremy has no taste. I need a fucking support group.
You know,
it's
I
so
will
bad.
say, out of the stuff that I watched, you definitely ragged on him a little bit for that, and like I get it now. I get it now. Because at first I was like, man, he's a little harsh. I like him, but he's a little harsh. Now I get it. For sure,
it's not that I have no taste, Chancy. I have unique taste.
I would agree with that as well, though, because some of the stuff I heard you listen to, and part of the reason why I wasn't sure who gave me which album is I know you're big into Nightwish. And I know that with the band we're going to talk about later doesn't necessarily have the same tone and sound, but like there were elements that I thought might tie in. So I get it, though.
I don't disagree with that, actually. I don't disagree with that, but we'll get into that later. But
we will. So my number 3, another movie reference title, which like is big in this era too, right? That late 2000s pop punky metalcore-ish bands. I'm Made of Wax, Larry. What are you made of? The real hype level to this song for me personally is like a thing. It is a big deal for me. I love this song. This is probably another one of those. It's a me song. Like this is my big pick.
Wait a minute. Okay. I'm not gonna say I hate the song. I don't.
Right.
What movie is it? What movie is it based off of? Because I couldn't.
Night in the Museum. It's Robin Williams says it to Ben Stiller, who is Larry. Yep.
It's coming back. I haven't seen that movie in like a decade.
I literally didn't know it for a while. Like after this record came out, and that movie was way more recent. So I don't blame you.
With a title like that, I'm assuming it's from somewhere because that's not just a random title that someone thinks of for a song. But
yeah,
okay. No, I lie. I could see Dog Fashion Disco or Polka Dot Cadaver as a song.
Fallout Boy would pull some shit like that.
If I listen to Fallout Boy, I hope I fall out of the plane while listening to it. So yeah.
You know what? I used to feel that way too, and then I got a little bit more into Prince, and I kind of got why it had a little bit more to it than I ever was willing to put stock.
No,
He's influenced by Prince. I'm not saying he is fucking Prince.
You do not get blasphemous with the sex god himself's name with Fallout Boy.
Yeah, but look at the fucking guy from Fallout Boy isn't a sexy rock star motherfucker at all. I think literally his last name's Stump for a reason. He kind of looks like a stump in those early records and shit like that. But my point is that like you can hear him wanting to do a little Prince type shit with his band, and I can appreciate that. That's all.
I can appreciate it, but stay away from the mastery of Prince. God damn it.
That's
he's all right.
I like Prince. I don't blame him. I'm actually thinking about doing a bit of the rivalry of Prince and Michael Jackson because I watched that James Brown anniversary clip. And I was like, I fucking hate Prince a little bit after that, too. Like, he steals the fucking show from Michael Jackson and James Brown. Like, wow. Dick move, but kind of cool. So, my number 2.
As someone who's only been a fan of Prince for less than a year, I could see that. I could see that, and I support that he did that.
Yeah, that's fair. I get it to a certain extent too.
I was just reminiscing about Prince earlier this week because I actually had someone for the first time do a one-on-one with the Prince bracket, and he didn't. It's funny because he actually is a sleep coach and he does a sleep podcast called The Why Behind Your Z's, and he kept saying the whole time, he's like, I'm not gonna sleep tonight after thinking about all these matchups. Like he was getting so he was funny. he was pulling like toned down Chancy shit the whole bracket just because there was such hard choices for him. And he's doing Stevie Wonder next. He's doing Stevie Wonder this week, and that's gonna be just the same thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
But please continue.
No, you're good. So my number 2 is, I feel like, the song that everybody knows. It's the song that like cap ends this record, and also for me as a kid, like not a kid, but coming up around the time that this record came out, like this is the song you heard played at late night parties, you know, on late night drives, hanging out with all your friends, and that's If It Means a Lot to You.
Okay.
Big duet.
Not hating on the song, but nobody I ever hung out with in 2009 would listen to this music.
That's fair. That's fair.
The people I was hanging out with in 2009, the big things were like 3 Days Grace, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and some ICP, because they just came back with their first real album in like 5 years. So,
what is that? Bang Boom Pow or whatever? That's the
Bang Pow Boom. Yes.
Okay.
Which has been on this show. Thank you.
That's it. Okay. You know, I actually wanted to look into a segment on the Twisted ICP feud, so I might have to hit you up and ask you about it. Yeah, just as like someone to help.
If you need a guest, I could talk. I was on Part of My Fandom podcast about a year ago talking about that for a long time. So,
well, you know, and like, I'm going to be honest, man, even just trying to watch videos and get two sides of the argument sometimes seem hard, because like I keep seeing videos from 6-7 years ago where they sat with like Fago Lovers, I think was the website, and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I mean, can I really use this for a 20-minute segment? Like, this is a 6-year-old video, you know? I don't.
Trust me, I've been in the midst of it all since it first started, and I was a fan of both bands when they were both in Psychopathic still. So I could.
Well, that was why I was gonna bring them up. Was even though I hadn't followed them in a long time, I was a big fan of them, and like during their biggest, brightest moments, Twisted was a group that they were bringing along with them in ICP. So I thought it was a really interesting topic to cover, even if I wasn't that big of a fan anymore. But
it definitely is, and. I mean, just trust me. There's a lot there, especially.
Twist.
It was a good move.
Trying to unpack what I could was hard. For real.
I'll leave it at this, though. It was a good move for Twisted, but
yeah. I think there's nothing that Twisted could have done besides been the number 2 ever, and that's a hard thing to do when you're a band as good as Twisted to an extent.
They were only number 2 because they were really number 1, but they were getting pushed down and told to censor themselves somewhat, because when someone's used to being the top dog, you don't try to push the top dog out without expecting to push back.
Well, and when you're the second best performing of all time on that label, and somebody doesn't order enough copies of CDs, right? Isn't that like the big initial wave of where they were like, we're fucking out? You know, like I get that 125%. But my number 1. And I think it's kind of apt that we go from that into the title of this song. But you said you hated it, apparently, is The Downfall of Us All. Big opening for the record. And I think another meme to this album and this band is this song with the opening. The big gang vocals to do the guitar chug of the lick. You know, like I thought that was just such a weird fucking thing. The first time somebody threw this on, again, like late night, we're having some drinks, we're powwowing around together in somebody's garage, and they threw on this burned CD, and this is the first song that come on. I'm like, what is this? And to be fair, at this point now, this is one of my favorite bands. So, you know, from that initial like knee-jerk reaction, it grew into something that I really, really hold near and dear. So I'm really glad I could share it with you guys. But yeah, I personally think that's one of their most well-known songs as well, too. And I think it's damn good.
Well, put it this way. That whole beginning of Downfall, once again, it gave me high hopes. And I was sorely disappointed with the song I should begin. So yeah, that's why it's not anywhere near my list, just like the second song in the CD. But Chancy, what were your top 5?
So there's quite a few of them that were already mentioned. So like number 5 for me was If It Means a Lot to You. Number 4 was Homesick. 3 was You Already Know What You Are. 2 was I'm Made of Wax, Larry. What are you made of? And number 1 is Mr. Highway's Thinking About the End.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
I heard that part and I was like, straight to the top.
yeah.
Well, yes, just like Chancy when he starts his feed only fan, straight to the top. But
I actually found in my notebook when that Other A Day to Remember album was brought, and it was this far back.
Oh, wow.
It was a long time ago because we met her back in the beginning of the year. But
Right.
all right, well, I actually had 3 honorable mentions for this CD, so you can tell I didn't hate the, you can tell I didn't hate the CD at all. But number 8 was I'm Made of Wax. What are you made of, Larry? That, I mean, it was just good, and it kind of made me think of dog fashion disco type of songs. But number 7 was Homesick because I was dying laughing every time it said, "Tell Dad I just farted." Like it's just like that's something me and my dad would do. So that's actually kind of funny. But
Right.
number 6 was another song about the weekend, which I don't think anybody mentioned yet. But that's because I actually have a couple here that no one else mentioned. But another song about the weekend was actually a decent song.
See, so I would have put that as an honorable mention, but I'm gonna maybe cause some smoke here. I think the acoustic version of that song that's only on the special is better. So I didn't include it. Maybe that's shitty, but that's
a valid argument. I mean,
I stand my ground, sir. Right. I really debated that for a while because to me that's a very personal song. So I really had a lot of stock in that, and I'm like, but like half the time I'm listening to this, it's the special edition acoustic. So like I didn't include it for that reason. Very good pick. I love that.
I hate special editions unless they are all bonus tracks and no other version songs. I hate that shit. It's very rare I find a secondary version of a song I actually like. It's just very rare for me.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes. But
I can understand that.
My number 5 was Have Faith in Me because it was actually kind of like a good love ballad almost. Like
that is the love ballad, even more so than if it means a lot to you. But yeah.
And I mean, it kind of like made me think about my marriage and stuff. So, you know, but number 4 was New Jersey Legion Iced Tea because I love that freaking song. And the opening to it kind of made me think of like an Offspring song. Like I was just like, what the heck?
I could see that.
But number 3 is Welcome to the Family because, you know, there's a Juggalo reference in there too. But number 2 is number 2. I don't think anybody else mentioned either yet, but it's You Already Know What You Are.
We both mentioned it. It was my honorable. His number 3.
Yep.
Okay, now I'm remember hearing it now. I'm actually missed your honorable mention somehow. Like I was doing something and I missed that second. But number 1, of course, is If It Means a Lot to You. That's why I'm like, they're putting it so low in their list. What the fuck?
It's because we have taste.
That's my number 2. That's my number 2.
It was my number 5.
Yeah.
Or no.
Yeah,
no, it's 4. Number 4. Number 4.
Okay.
Number 4.
Okay.
I don't know.
Wait. No, it was 5. It was 5.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that song. It was the song that stuck out the most to me. Like
I saw them play that live, and it was an awesome experience. It was pretty cool. I like that song a lot. I think that's a great choice for anybody to make at any point of the list. And that's one of the things that's cool about this record, I feel, is you can go with it's like speccing shit in an RPG. Like you can go heavy tank and go Mr. Highway, You Already Know What You Are, whatever. Or you can lighten the load a little bit and you can be a little more aerodynamic and you can have some light songs, some Homesicks, another song about the weekend, Have Faith in Me. You know what I mean? It's nice that way.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, I mean, overall, like I said, it was a good album. I enjoyed it. Like I was after the first couple of songs, I was like, oh God, I'm not going to enjoy this. I'm not going to enjoy this at all. But then the rest of the album kind of restored my faith a little bit. So you could say I have faith in them. But Chancy, I think it's time. It's time we go to your album. Let's do this madness that's about to ensue here. What'd you bring?
So I brought.
For God's sake, why?
Well, not to take away from the album we just reviewed, But if I was going to say, if I had to rank the 3 albums from best vocalist to least impressive vocalist, my vocalist would be over everyone else just by a little bit.
Yeah,
Head and shoulders, but she's short, so it's cool.
Well, okay, so I have a question about like there were some, I don't know if it was production stuff or if it was her that I was a little back on, but honestly, by the end of the record, I was pretty sold on that too.
Yeah.
I really was. Like at first I was like, man, like she's got such a good voice and I feel like this deserved a second take. But then by the end of the record, I was like, yeah, she fucking kills it.
I brought the titular album, It's All Happening, by I Wrestled a Bear Once, also affectionately known as I Wabo. I actually came across this band by accident.
Searching for gay porn, I presume.
No, I was listening to a satellite radio station.
Okay.
And they were on like the top 12 list or something like that. And I was like, no way. And I look up the video to one of my picks and I'm like, oh my God, This chick has a voice on her. And I also like the experimental process for the band as well, just that like all the taps and just all the crazy shit that they do. I felt really bad for the drummer because just trying to keep up with all that was just like, oh my God, how did he do that? But I mean, it's so interesting and strange. And if you watch their videos, they have a lot of really cool stuff. Like one of the songs that they made a video out of had Mr. Belding from Saved by the Bell. And, and fucking their inclusion of, really cool shit like the Dueling Banjos riff. Fucking, I was like, and the Dukes of Hazzard horn, like you're just like, what the fuck? And it's always just like right before some shit hits down, man. Just like, oh, okay. It's fucking. I don't know why you wouldn't like it, Jeremy, but I figured you wouldn't like it, especially after I submitted. You're like, really? I was like, yeah, really, motherfucker, really.
Well, because it's not the first time it's technically not the first time you submitted it, even though the last time you used it as a joke submit.
Yeah, no, I was serious this time.
Wholeheartedly.
Well, Kyle, what did you think of iWabo?
So I initially kind of had that knee-jerk reaction like I was talking about the first time I heard Downfall, when you were kind of talking about my record as well, and it probably seems like a little bit with this, but like jumping into a cold pool, it took that first couple feet, right? It took a song or two. And I was like, okay. So for me, although I love heavy music, it's predominantly what I listen to. Death and black metal is like a bridge too far, usually, to be fair. But with this, I feel like that quick snap of the banjos or is it Mario that they're covering or whatever in See You in Shell?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I didn't really.
It was a later Mario game theme that I was hearing.
Okay, that would make sense. That would make sense.
And I really dug it, and I feel like you said, the Dukes of Hazzard horn, the horse, like. I literally sat there and had a couple things in my notes. So I'm going to read them off real quick. ADHD core. Meme core was another thing I was calling that. Again, this is in like the first 2 or 3 songs. And then once it kind of spectrums out and you start hearing the range of what this band is going to hit. I don't know if you know how far this is in their discography, because this is 2012.
It's number
this
one.
This is
the debut.
Yeah, it's the first. Yeah, it's there. Yeah.
We said titular. I'm like, the band's not, or this record isn't named that, but I get. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I totally get it. I didn't know for sure. So like, by the end of it, I feel like this record spans out. And if you weren't buying in And like that,
You weren't
that
gonna.
song slaps real hard. But if you weren't buying in the beginning, by the end you're there. So
Yeah.
my top 5. With that said,
Oh, hold on.
okay. Oh yeah, your thoughts.
Yeah. And
He's gotta get his out of the way here. He's gotta get this.
And the album holder gets through their
Give
top
you your
5
lashings, Chancy.
Yeah, he's better make it good. Because, I mean, I got the nuclear option already in my pocket.
Chancy, all right, Chancy, take your shirt off. The lashing's coming. I mean, what the fuck did you bring, man? Just Jesus Christ, what did you bring to this show once again? I am in search for new co-host people. No, I fucking love this CD, actually.
I was gonna say,
Okay.
either you're gonna be like, this is garbage, or you're gonna be like, oh, okay. And I was like, he's gonna talk some shit. I figure because you usually hate this kind of thing, so I was like, you know what, fuck it.
Well,
But their turn on a dime tempo changes are fucking immaculate.
Yeah.
Well, see, when I hear this CD, I mean, yeah, the first you have to get through like the first couple minutes of the first track to really even appreciate it. Like in the beginning, it's just like, what is this noise pollution garbage that's playing in my headphones? But once you get past that, and she actually starts singing, I actually had to watch the fucking lyric screen for this whole album because it's just like I had no idea what she's saying unless I'm watching the lyric screen at the same time. And the way like it would take her sometimes like a second to go through a line, and there's other times where like it takes her like a full minute to go through one line of lyrics. It's just insanity, but it works. And I mean, I can hear Dog Fashion Disco in this music style, and I can hear some freaking System of a Down even with the going through the different like genres type thing in one song. And I can hear a lot. I can actually hear a lot of bands in the same as his CD. I can hear a lot of bands in the CD like that. I like that, like combining their styles. And there was even like an Avantasia type, like or Dream Theater type, like progression to some of the songs. So, I mean, it was unique. You know me, I like unique shit. And I mean, some of these songs I fucking loved, but. And like you said, Chancy, like the Dukes of Hazzard, Horny, and all like the random sound effects. I love that shit in music. So that's just my thing. Like ICP does that all the time. So I love that shit. But I mean, I liked it, and I looked up the singer, and I was trying to look at pictures of her because she's hot. So, it's a singer from Spirit Box. I actually like.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
According to Google,
she did not come to the band until like the third album.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't see any other singer even listed.
God damn it! I looked her up today because I was just reading about the band, and I was like, oh yeah, because I knew that the original singer left in the middle of a tour for the second album because she found out she was pregnant. And then she just never came back to the band because she was doing the family thing.
Now
go on. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
So I have a note down here that I wanted to bring up because it's probably not going to fit in my top 5. But I want to put it to you because we talked about her voice versus Jeremy McKinnon's. Have you ever heard of Walls of Jericho? And do you think Candace Kolskin, that band, do you think Walls of Jericho's on par? Over under, because I got vibes of that later on, and I think that's what.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know if one is better than the other, but
I can't.
I feel like the fact
can't
that
call
it's so heavy too may have thrown me off a little bit because that straight metalcore Walls Jericho sound is way different. It is like it's similar, but it's different enough that I can't really compare them reasonably. I know that much.
Right. I mean, I couldn't call it either.
Yeah.
You say Walls of Jericho. The only Walls of Jericho I know is a submission move, but
that's funny.
Well, it's one of the 1,004 holds that Chris Jericho knows, though. So I mean, it works,
right?
It works that that's one of the ones because those are the best 1,004 moves there could be.
I'm yet to see a video of him actually performing all 1,004, but yeah. But all right, Chancy. I mean, you did good, kid. You did good. But what are your top 5 there, Chancy?
I honestly almost called it all in and just put it all on the list, but I was like, no. gotta pull a top 5 out of this. I'm not gonna drag it out. Number 5 for me was Eli Cash versus the Godless Savages. And number 4 was Pazuzu for the Win. That was fucking crazy. Fucking crazy.
We matched, but we matched
nice.
on that one. But I mean, I had to look up Pazuzu because I'm like, is it the gargoyle from Futurama that like the professor like rides, or like? But then I'm like, I look it up and I'm like, oh yeah, it's the demon in The Exorcist, yeah. And I'm like,
and some dude that some dude that killed some people called himself Pazuzu.
Okay.
Just
I mean,
either or.
Right.
But I tried Googling to figure out which one they were actually, if they ever actually said an interview or anything, which one they were actually talking about. But apparently they never did because I couldn't find shit. And I'm like, I'm like, based on another reference to an animated series in this album, though, I'm like, I thought it might be Futurama because it seems like they might be down with that shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible.
Chancy.
Number 3 was See You in Shell.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 was Danger in the Manger.
And we match again.
And number 1 is always going to be Tastes Like Kevin Bacon. Always. Every day, twice on Sunday.
See, I think that's where I knew I'd heard that song name before, but I couldn't think of why.
Yep.
I'm like, I think Chancy or Jamie brought this up at some point. Because I can see Jamie bringing it up too. But
valid. But yeah, I think it was me because I know that it was funny because Kyle was mentioning it about them being a meme band. And I remember there was a video meme where it's like me introducing my music to people, and it's like this video of a person in a fucking inflatable suit and it does the Dukes of Hazzard's horn, and then while it does it like they just drop down and just fucking, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle, what were your top 5?
So I think we have a little bit of a match here for some of them. So number 5, See You in Shell. And nice. I think that Mario theme in there really kind of kicked it up for me. I need to know what it is specifically though, because I heard it and I literally like played it back as soon as I could. Cause I'm like, I fucking know what that is, but I don't know what that is. I want to hear it again. Number 4, You Ain't No Family. I will give
That's
this
good too, yeah.
credit. I went back and listened to that first song again after I kind of wrapped up the record and was like, I don't know what I could call this band. And when I Wikipedia'd it, gave me grindcore and avant-garde, like experimental metal. And like that is the most baseline way that you could say it for sure. But I think You Ain't No Family is one that should be up there too. The Cat's Pajamas, number 3. I really dug on that one. Here's another match for us, though. Number 2, Eli Cash versus the Godless Savages.
Nice.
I really dug that one. I think at that point is when I knew I was in.
Nice.
Shut up and take my money. To talk about Futurama, the shut up and take my money fry meme is what happened to me at that moment, because I was like, yeah, I was not sure about this shit when it started, but I'm fucking in now. I'm ready. And number 1, It Tastes Like Kevin Bacon. Number 1, every day, all day, twice on Sunday, I guess. Because
yes, sir.
I do have an honorable mention, and that was Pazuzu for the Win.
Nice.
Yeah, I think we matched up pretty well on that for sure, man. Good pick, bro. I really was surprised by it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, no problem. Always glad to help.
Yeah.
Well, for this album, I actually had 3 honorable mentions.
Damn.
I was waiting for that. But my first honorable mention was Whitewater, because nobody mentioned it yet. The whole freaking like them screaming, let it sing to you in hell, like, which is kind of what I thought this album would be. But and the techno they mix into that song, like the techno they mix in like in the middle of it is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Number 7 actually was Tastes Like Kevin Bacon.
Ah.
And number 6 was See You and Shell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
my number 5 was You Ain't No Family. Because I love like they threw like the hillbilly banjo in the middle of that shit. Like that's amazing.
That's what took me the first time. I was like, what the fuck am I about to listen to?
And number 4 was, of course, number 4 was Precision for the Win, of course.
Yeah.
And number 3, no one actually mentioned yet. Number 3 is I'm Cold and There Are Wolves Out After Me. Because I love that. I love that it's named after a line from The Simpsons. Like they actually did admit that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as soon as I saw that line, I'm like, I know that title. Why the fuck do I know that title? I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, didn't someone say that?
Simpsons did it.
Yeah. Simpsons did it.
Literally, that's what went through my head. Is like Simpsons did it in one of their 5,000 episodes. They did it, but so I mean, and that song's actually really good. But
yeah,
and number two was Danger in the Manger because that song's amazing. And the whole freaking like the part in the middle where they say I could, and then she's screaming something like that's awesome. I love that shit. And then the Cat's Pajamas was number 1 because it made me think of Chancy, and he probably would buy his cat's pajamas.
The cat's pajamas? Fuck yeah, dude. It is the cat's pajamas. You better understand
Right.
that.
And
That's great.
Chancy is my Bubbles in my podcast trailer park, and he kind of like lives in a shed with 5 cats.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. Bubbles was cool. Fuck it.
Yeah. I got my cat laying right here with me right now. Actually, so
nice.
No, I don't like. I'd rather have my 250-pound mastiffs running around, but yeah, they're fun. But yeah. So overall, Chancy, you surprised me with this album. I was expecting to hate it like nothing else in this world, and come down to you like the Wrath of Thor. But at the end of the day, it was actually not bad. I was like pleasantly surprised by both albums, but more yours. Because I was like, what hell hath Chancy come forth with this week with only 2 days to listen to it? But, all right. Well, I guess.
Let's rip this Band-Aid off. Come on.
Oh, we just did. But.
No, I mean your album. Let's rip this Band-Aid off. Let's get this over with. Jesus Christ.
Oh, it's not that bad, you freaking. But, yes, the album that I so decided to grace your presence with today, which the reason I decided to grace your presence with this album is that, one, I heard Kyle's album, and originally I was like, ooh, maybe I'll bring a good Offspring CD and like the one Chancy brought to this because I heard the one song with this Offspring opening, and that's the first thing I thought of. But, I mean, then I'm thinking like Manson maybe, or I'm like, I just did Korn for another show we're doing. I can't do that again. I went through I went through a lot of like goth emo like from that time period. But well, at least as far emo as I'll fucking go. But and I even thought Cradle of Filth for a second, which when you said that you're not really a fan of death metal, I was like, oh damn, I should have brought Cradle of Filth. but I thought of this band because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try and match it up to the same year as his CD came out in the same like genre of rock almost.
Right.
And I did that pretty well with Papa Roach's Metamorphosis, which was not the first Papa Roach album I actually wanted to bring, but I wanted to match up the year, and it might have fucked me a little. I don't know. It might just have fucked me a little, but because the one I wanted to bring that came out before this one, after I'm listening to this album, I'm like, oh, the one before this one's a little bit better, I think.
It's Getting Away with Murder as the lead-off track, right?
Yeah, the Paramore Sessions.
Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna bring that because that's one of my favorite ones because it also has the raw. It has the raw theme song on it too. But
oh yeah,
yeah, it was the raw theme song for like all the early 2000s.
Want to Be Loved? Yeah.
But this album actually, my top 5 that you'll hear in a bit are actually the reason I really brought it because those are all amazing. But there are a lot of songs on this CD that I would skip over when I was actually listening to like the whole CD back in the time period it came out because we actually used to listen to CDs back then still.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I love Papa Roach. A lot from their earlier stuff to like right around the time of this album is great. But once you get into like the late 2010s and to now with their music, it's fucking trash. But once they put out that Crooked Teeth album, I was just like, yeah, I'm good. But
yeah,
and I mean, just the album cover makes me not want to even listen to it. Just looking at that makes me sick. But this CD is not bad. It's not bad. I like it to some degree. I love his voice. His voice is so good. Like I always liked it. I mean, if I wouldn't
that audible sigh, he's just like.
And he's been on a few. I think he was on a Within Temptation album, like on their opening track for one of their newer albums, and his voice is just amazing. Like when he does, especially when he does like real heavy metal, like it's just good. I don't know why he doesn't do a band like that, honestly.
Right.
But he can do what he wants to do. He's had success, so more power to him. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is kind of like when Chancy brought Offspring, and he was just like, I should have listened to this album before I bought
it. He's like, I fucked up. But
I didn't do a complete fuck up because there's more than just one or two good songs. Like there wasn't the Offspring album, so. But
hey, at least when it happened, I was like, this is an atrocity. I don't know what's happening here. I fucked up. I'm sorry, guys. I was listening to this thing and I was like, God damn, I gotta talk shit about my own fucking album here.
What Offspring album did you bring then?
The most recent one. Let the Bad Times Roll. It's so bad. So bad.
So I thought you were talking like early or mid 2000s.
I would have loved that. Yeah, that's good stuff.
I was like, what one do they hate that much? I didn't know you brought something new for Offspring. Yeah.
Well, okay, no, don't say newer Offspring, just newest, because everything up to the newest one is fucking amazing. Let the Bad Times Roll is let the amazing CD. And whatever the fuck that one after that one is called, because I can't remember what the.
Wait, Let the Bad Times Roll is the newest one, dude.
Oh, yeah. No, what the hell? Rise and Fall of Grace is a great CD.
I think that was the one before that one.
Yeah.
No, the one before that one was the one with the old guy sitting on the bench, and I think it was like Days Go By and something. But because I love Offspring up to the newest. The newest one was fucking trash, but all the rest of the Offspring albums are amazing.
Okay.
But they need to just go retire in their skater rock mansions and just spend the rest of their days doing shit. Yeah. Start a podcast, some guys.
So a hot sauce.
Yeah, right. Craft beer.
Right.
It would fit their profile very well.
Throw that in your cargo shorts, bro.
Fucking go to the farmer's market.
I mean, you're getting a little too old, guys, to try to act like you're punk teenagers anymore. But Kyle,
kind of like the Cottonmouth Kings.
No, they just act like they're punk senior citizens now. But Kyle, which way? I mean, well, not which way. What do you think of Papa Roach?
So I will say that I had kind of a knee-jerk reaction with this one as well, but for me it was one of those things where it was like, oh man, I hope this isn't super butt rock. And like there's a little butt rock here.
Little?
Well, I still came out with 6 songs that I feel like you could throw on, and maybe you got to have a Bud Light or two to get it going, but I feel like you can get it going to some of this. Like, I don't think it's all bad, right?
Dude, there's so much butt rock in this album that fucking you could eat cereal out of it. I'm just saying.
It is very much Bedazzled Jeans butt rock. It is super duper radio rock festival.
Well, I mean, this is also what Chance usually does on Saturday nights. He usually eats cereal out of a butt bowl that his girl makes, but some good old Cheerios out the hole in one. But
the worst things you can do on a Saturday night, my friend.
Yes, there is.
Like listen to a fucking Papa Roach album.
But if you had to, the 6 songs that I picked.
You can take those from there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep.
But I mean, me in my early 20s listening to a Papa Roach on Saturday night was not a bad thing, dude.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like there's a reason why you listen to butt rock sometimes, and it's not the chords.
Papa Roach in this era of their music is very good for like breakups. In their beginning era of music, they were good for like not wanting to listen to your parents and wanting to go break stuff. But
well, okay, so let me ask you a question though, really quick. Do you think the fact that this was a new metal band that became a emo-ish metalcore band in vein of like a Bullet for My Valentine lost them some credo, and then you got to go butt rock because that's, no offense, the lowest common denominator, right? That's where you're going to get the most people to listen to your music, right? That's all that I mean by that statement.
If Coldplay and Nickelback can do it for as long as they have, then why not?
Right. Yeah, I could see that though. I really do. And again, I don't feel like this is a terrible record. So I wouldn't beat myself up too bad about your pick. But Chancy, for sure, man. I want to hear what you got to say about it too.
There are definitely worse Papa Roach albums I could have brought by far. But Chancy, unleash the Kraken.
Okay, here we go. So when I think about things that I would, rather slam my dick in a dresser drawer than do, or actually, let me get a little bit more theatrical about this. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, pronouns of all ages, Jeremy Bryant has brought us the fucking worst album in the world! What the fuck have you done, sir? For fuck's sake! There's a song on this fucking piece of shit called Lifeline. I needed to be life-flighted after hearing this fucking war crime in between my ears. For fuck's sake, sir! Have you no shame? You have no, you are the godless savages, and I must be Eli Cash in this motherfucker. God damn it!
No, Jesse, I brought no shame a couple weeks ago when Harvey was on.
Touche, sir. Oh man, I'm yelling so much my lips are going numb. I think I'm going into diabetic shock. Fuck. I honestly, dude, as soon as you told me what it was, I was just like, man, for real though? Do we have to go down this alley? God damn, dude.
Yeah, she's got support pussy.
I mean, goddamn, fucking, it's like the old fucking saying that you saw on really shitty T-shirts and bad fucking bumper stickers. I wish my lawn was emo so that it would fucking cut itself. Represented in a band. It's like if this saying was I'm gonna manifest into be people. This right here, this shit right here, literal shit. Rant over.
I was gonna say, you done yet? You just done yet? All right. Go wipe off your.
Broke a sweat. Broke a sweat.
I was gonna say, go wipe off your forehead. Go take a shower. Come back. We'll be waiting for you. But you just busted a big load, buddy. It's okay. But so I actually only had 2 honorable mentions for this CD, which if you notice, is one less than each of the other CDs. But
yeah. Well, you said you were realizing your mistake as you were listening to this album, and that's kind of why I was like, I can shit on it, but I'm not going to shit on Jeremy personally too much. He's admitted to fucking up here. Right.
This CD is by no means as good as Infest, as good as the Paramore Sessions, as good as Getting Away with Murder. There's a lot better CDs I could have brought. I was trying to stick with the year. And this is the CD they released in 2009. I'm like, it's not that bad CD. It's not horrible. I can deal with it. It's not like Crooked Teeth or the newer ones. But because now they're just trying to be at the head of every fucking radio festival in the world. But my first honorable mention was Carry Me. Because you got to remember, this album was a huge breakup album for me in my early 20s. So, and Carry Me, that line, the hardest ones to love are the ones who need it most. I know so many fucking people like that. That's not even funny. Yeah. So I like when songs speak truth, and that song spoke truth, and it's actually a good song. You send that to a girl, and it's kind of it works sometimes, especially if you get the right chicks. Chancy, it might work for Casey, but number 6 is Chancy's like, only if you want me to get violence when I wake up in the morning, but. My number six was Live This Down. because I do like that song, but it's just not top 5 material at all. But like I said, my top 5 for the reason this album was at least worthy of bringing. Number 5 was Lifeline, Chancy. Because, I mean, that song is good. Honestly, it should be the suicide prevention hotlines like theme song. But number 4 was State of Emergency. I like the freaking rhythm of the guitar in that song.
Yeah.
And I like the way he sings that song a lot. Number 3 is Nights of Love. I mean, Nights of Love, Days of War. Like, I love the beat in that song. Like, the tempo to it is amazing. Number 2 is, it was hard to put this in number 1, but number 2 is Hollywood Whore. God, I love that fucking song. Hollywood Whore, passed out on the floor. Like, and then when the guitar kicks in after the slow part, it's just like, oh my God. Like, when they did this, actually, I wouldn't mind seeing live. I wouldn't mind seeing that song live by far. And number 1, though, was my favorite song of this album during that period of breakups. It was I Almost Told You That I Loved You. It's just so catchy and so perfect. Like, it's like the male version of a Taylor Swift song almost. At least in my opinion. But
let's not church it up. You told him that you loved him.
But
you notice how he just fucking blew right past that? He's like, he's having fucking flashbacks.
Like that too, man. I can't say nothing.
But nah, I mean, if Amanda was here, she'd
ball sometimes, baby. You just got to get in the next play.
I mean, if Amanda was here, she probably would want to stab me for comparing Papa Roach to Taylor Swift. But
right,
I'd be getting cut for sure. But Kyle, what were your top 5?
So, like I said, I feel like I pulled out 6 from this, but I could see where some of your picks come from too. We actually have a little bit of layover. So my honorable mention is Lifeline. Now, I feel like you were saying like the suicide prevention stuff, but also like my longtime girlfriend is a recovery coach, and I also feel like even if you're not like actively trying to harm yourself and you're kind of wasting yourself away, something like that is something maybe you should give a listen to and stuff like that. A healthy kind of inspirational song or whatever.
It's therapeutic.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. But to get into the list proper, my number 5 was Hollywood Whore, and I'm gonna give this to you. I thought it was a really good song, and I liked it up until the line at the end where he goes, "Don't let the door hit you or the good Lord split you, honey." And I felt like, God, man, this is one of the better songs for him vocally, this record. And then you throw that cornball shit in at the end with that big laugh. And it's like, oh, bro, I don't fucking believe a word that you're saying right now, though. But later on, I do. When he does more of that, I do.
That's the point, though. It's supposed to be that point where all men get the false bravado, like when they're in a breakup. And it's like they start like almost going a little insane and start laughing like the Joker and freaking like saying stupid shit to all the girls leaving. Like
that's a fair point. That's not how I heard it, but I could see that now that you say that for sure. But that was my number 5. My number 4 is March Out of the Darkness. Again, I feel like another like kind of uplifting song. I liked it.
That one's too preachy for me. I can't do that song.
I can see that too, though. Right. And to be fair, maybe that's part of the thing about this record that made me look at it a little bit more. It wasn't lighthearted, but like I found it to be a little bit more light bringer, like inspirational than I really expected them to do at all. Obviously, this isn't like a Christian rock record or anything like that, but I was pleasantly surprised by that and Live This Down. Lifeline. My number 3 is Live This Down. I really like that song. I thought it was a good one. My number 2, to match up with you a little bit, was State of Emergency. I really like the way that song kind of ironed out, and I appreciated it. And then number 1, I think the best song in the record, Wholesale, Change or Die. I actually really bought Jacoby Shaddix on this song. I thought it was the best song of the record, and it's probably the best song for the band, like on the record too, sonically. Like I feel like everything really hits its stride in that first 4 minutes.
I think that song to me is just too overplayed because that was the single off this album. I'm pretty sure.
I thought Lifeline, Hollywood Horror, and what's the other? Though one of the ones from your list were all singles on this. I Almost Told You I Love You. I think those are the singles from this record.
I think at that time in music, they probably got a lot of singles off this because there was.
It's true.
In 2009, there was not that much.
But this has like that late 80s hair metal kind of sleazer rock feel that I can get behind. And that's why I don't feel like the butt rock is too bad. Like we can all dunk on Nickelback because it's convenient and it's fair. But the butt rock here is real. I don't think this is a terrible record. I agree with you. But like, is this some shit I'd put on beyond 2009? No. Is this some shit I'd put on instead of Buck Cherry in 2009? Yes. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's a fair distinction to this.
Well, actually, I mean, I'll put on Too Drunk to Fuck by Buck Cherry before I put on this album ever. But, funny enough, that song is not on Spotify at all. You can't get that song on Spotify. I am so happy I have that CD in my CD book still.
Is it on like a Pandora or a Tidal or anything like that either? Or it's just like
all their other music, that whole other CD is on there besides that song. And I mean, yeah, it's a cover. I think it's a Dead Kennedys cover, if I'm not mistaken. But
is that actually the Dead Kennedys Too Drunk to Fuck in that like really?
Am I wrong, Chancy? I mean, I'm pretty sure Thea told me it was Dead Kennedys.
They have a song called Too Drunk to Fuck.
Yeah, I was going to say...
It's a cover then. Yeah, it's a cover.
It might be. I don't remember.
There's a million songs called Lifeline or whatever, I'm sure, out there too.
No, but there's not that. But that's the thing. When there's only a couple songs out there with the same name, like Too Drunk to Fuck, like there's only two versions. I'm pretty sure there's only two songs. You put it in Spotify, the only thing that comes up is Dead Kennedys. But
yeah.
So I mean, but I mean, maybe it's like maybe they didn't get the freaking actual rights to it to do it, and like after they released the CD, like they're like when they went to put it on Spotify, they're like, nope. And
yeah, because I mean, I can't think of any reason why it would be like canceled at this point. But I mean, I don't really even know it all that well to know anything beyond Too Drunk to Fuck in that bass line. So
Too Drunk to Fuck. That whole album, Cream, like Cream on Me, like that song's fucking amazing. It's just like the dirtiest song ever. I love that whole Buck Cherry album I have because I freaking love that album. I can't say. I mean, the only other music by them I really liked was Crazy Bitch, but who doesn't like Crazy Bitch?
Of course you do.
Oh, what's the first single from that album? The first one,
I have no.
All Lit Up Again. I thought
that was a good one.
Buck Cherry song, and then they never delivered anything better than that, in my opinion. Yeah, exactly.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
All right, well, Nancy, I think it's finally time you do your top 5.
So number 5 for me was Lifeline.
After you fucking hate on it, it's still number 5.
Oh yeah, I had to pick something. I had to fucking pick something, and I was like, you know what? Fucking, let's bring this fucking piece of shit. Get your fucking keys. Let's fucking go.
Do you ever dunk on an album and just pick 3 songs?
We've done it. We've done it.
Okay.
Yeah. There's sometimes where I get lucky enough that I know all 3 of the albums and I don't have to listen to anything. That's happened a few times where I'm just like, oh, thank God they picked this album. Or, oh, thank God this is right. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I just go through the track list. This one. Fucking done. But number 4 was March Out of the Darkness. Fucking it was another, like, I had to pick something. Fucking, I was listening to it at the time. And he's like, you know what? Fucking, this ain't that bad. Fuck it. Let's go.
Better than most of what I've heard.
Right? You know, I could tolerate this. It's like fucking. It's like, you know, it's like getting your skin cleaned after you're fucking burnt. Fucking just. Number 3 was State of Emergency. Number 2 was Change or Die.
Okay.
And number 1 for me was Days of War. Fucking
the instrumental into that.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if I could include them together as one, but they do lead seamlessly into one another on the record, and yeah, I think it adds to Change Your Die. Yeah, for sure.
I'm also a sucker for a good instrumental.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, Days of War I don't love that song.
It's the shortest. It's the shortest one on the fucking album. So I was number one.
I mean, and Change or Die. The other reason I can't stand that song is every time I listen to it, I think all I hear is "Vote or die, motherfucker, vote or die."
No shit. See, okay. So one of the reasons I had a huff about Jacoby Shaddix, though, in the beginning was there's parts of his vocal during Change or Die, which again I feel like is like the best fucking song on this record. That again, like, do another take. It sounds like your shit's cracking right now. You know what I mean? Like, lean on it or lean off of it, I should say. Throttle it back, whatever you got to do. But like, that could be a cleaner vocal that would really make that shit pop. You don't have to be guttural to be heavy and good. Like, that was one thing that made me go like, he's not a terrible singer, especially if you put him in the right environment. But like, I think like you were saying about the rock star attitude of like, you're probably not going to tell him don't do that shit on his own record. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a valid point.
I mean, I don't know. I like Jacoby Shaddix. He's a freaking amazing singer. He really is. And I love that they came from like Infest, though. The fact that they started with Infest, and it's just one of those things where
that's one of the things that I always find weird about it too, though, is seeing him again around this era with like that emo mullet haircut. It's like, didn't you have like black dickies and spiky hair 6-7 years ago, motherfucker? Like, hold up.
He did the survival thing, though. He changed with the times because he knew he had to in order to be relevant. There's a lot of bands that were like him in the early 2000s, and they didn't make it out because they didn't try to change. It changed or die. Like, he literally did a song about it on this album, Change or Die.
Yeah.
Actually, this album was their turning point. Like, that's why it's called Metamorphosis, because it was their changing point where they were like changing. I mean, because the Paramore Sessions wasn't like this album at all. The Paramore Sessions is like really dark and grungy. I mean,
right.
But I mean, couldn't they have just went with the latter though?
Trust me, I wish they
found that lifeline, man.
I mean, who doesn't know Last Resort? Like, everybody knows that fucking song. Like,
but that's a completely different form of hard rock metal than what this is. And I mean, see, okay, I can't remember what Getting Away with Murder was on, but to me, that was the big shift.
Getting Away with Murder was on Getting Away with Murder. That was the name of the CD.
That's the name of the CD, and that's 2 CDs before this. So, like, they've been in this mode that we're talking about for a couple album cycles.
They go through cycles, though, because, like, the first album they ever did, Good Enemies are Good Friends, Better Enemies. Like, it was fucking trash. I hate that album more than anything in the world. Then they come out with Infest, and it's like one of the best albums ever made in the early 2000s.
I wonder if their cycles are synced up.
Possible. But and then the third album they did, I can never remember the fucking name of it, but it sucks. Like, the third album they did is horrible too. And then they do Getting Away with Murder, and they come back amazing. Like,
yeah. And to be fair, getting signed when they did, that might have been more of the faux shit for them to be a new metal band than to be this kind of band. Who knows? I don't. I'll say that now. You know.
I forget what the hell the name of the song is, but it's like All Eight Roses on Your Grave or something like that. Like, it's one of like the most haunting songs you'll ever hear in your life, but it's incredible. And like, just like the background music and everything. I think it's on Paramore Sessions, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. That's what I'll be bringing Paramore Sessions eventually, and definitely gonna bring it Fest if we ever do like an early 2000s episode, kind of. But speaking of which, by this time next week we'll be doing I believe it's next week. We'll be doing a comedy album episode. But
that'd be good. That'd be cool.
But, well, folks, we covered all 3 CDs, 3 completely fucking different CDs, but all 3 rockin' hard CDs. Because I mean, if you're gonna listen to if listening to Iwabo is like jumping into the pool, you gotta get over that shrinkage and you gotta start rocking hard eventually. So, because I was in the pool, but yes, we gave you 3 CDs, we gave you entertainment. I gave you an ear vision if you listen to the audio version. Sorry for that. But Kyle, why don't you tell them where they can find your podcast, everything you want to do. Promote
So you can find me on Facebook under my name, Kyle Moore. If you want to find the podcast, Brain Soda Podcast on Facebook, Instagram. We do have a Patreon if it's something you'd be interested in. We're on TikTok, but for the most part, you can find us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, anywhere you stream podcasts. Again, it's 2 segments: pop culture, geek culture with me. My co-host Brad does science and history, and it's a really good time. It's less than an hour almost every episode. We'd love for you to join us. We're pushing towards episode 30. I really appreciate you guys having me on. I've really had a great time listening to your records, getting to know you guys. So I hope to come on again soon at some point because I really did enjoy this. Yeah. Great times, dude.
That definitely can happen.
Cool.
Yeah.
Actually, I believe we have a hole that needs to be filled, but Chancy and we'll talk about that. But and yes, I phrased it like that for that particular reason. But but what was I gonna say? And feel free to hit me up for that if you want to do that episode you talk about while we were off air. I don't want to give away shit on the show, but feel free to bring me on for that if you want to. I'll gladly talk that topic for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
And Chancy, where can they find you besides wrestling that bear in your bedroom?
Well, they can find me on Facebook under my name. If you can find me, good luck. On Instagram and TikTok, it is the Red Eye Roundtable. And on X, now formerly Twitter, it's it's Red Eye Pod.
Okay.
Don't you mean Red Eye Table?
Yeah, that one. I forget my
Yes,
my
that.
handle.
That
thing. Yeah. Listen.
You'll have to forgive Chancy, folks. He spent too much time in the void. But you can, of
I
course,
really
find
did.
Both. You really did. But you can find both of us on Facebook, streaming live either on the Jeremy Bryant page, or you can find our past episodes on the Unapologetic, Untamed, and Uncensored UQ Podcast Collective Facebook group. And you can also find us on Instagram and TikTok and Instagram and X-Men, baby, on as at Juggalo Bastard. And you can find us on TikTok as at Juggalo Bastard Podcast. And you can find us on YouTube if you want to see our pretty faces on either Maniacal Music Musings for past episodes, or you can check out Blind Knowledge Network, because all knowledge was blind until Chancy conquered that bear. And then sold it on OnlyFans escape porn. But until next time, folks, we've been your musers, and we'll be back on Monday night for another live episode. And it's another rocking one, so come back and check it out. Until next time, we thank Kyle for coming on.
Blamity blam.